And so they say there's no car inventory on the car lots. Look, I see a lot of great vehicles. Every make and model that you can imagine is currently available. Inventory is starting to fatten up on almost every manufacturer. Prices are climbing, but when you consider supply and demand and the fact that there's more inventory, you've got to believe that pricing will eventually start to drop off. Is this the year for that to happen? Then I bet you're probably wondering, to maximize your dollar, should you actually buy a car this year? And will prices drop to a point where it actually becomes reasonable to buy a car? I'll answer some of those questions and more. Let's get into it now. Life's too short to drive boring cars. So one point to consider is we're looking at this beautiful Honda. Now Honda's great, and you can go into the dealer and you can order your car up and get it. But the problem is, due to some of the issues like chip shortages, that even Honda is struggling, and they've only managed to sell about 25% of the vehicles the last quarter, typically from 2-3 years ago. But that's not the issue directly. The issue actually has to do more with the fact of general availability as a whole. If they're not putting out vehicles because they're limited with chip availability, then chances are most manufacturers are struggling. A lot of different vehicles are coming out or they're filling their lots, but they're often compromising. You don't have the type of features and elements and colors that you're looking for. Look at these Range Rovers. Your choices are black or white, and that just continues on. So you're very limited with what you can actually pick up off the lot. So maybe this isn't the year, because this is the year where they're starting to repopulate the lot. They're starting to slowly catch up. Factories are starting to get tooled up again. So I don't know if 22 is the year yet to buy. I mean, ultimately, inventory is starting to fill the lots, yes, but they're just starting to play catch up. And remember, they're rationing chip, putting them into the vehicles with the highest profit margin. So if you're finding a car in the lot, chances are you're probably paying a fatter asking price than you might on a vehicle that offers better value. On top of that, give it some time. The chip shortage will hopefully subside with some time. And once those shortages are backfilled, you may start to see vehicles with different features. You may be able to special order that car, not have to wait 2.5 or 3 years for it. You might be able to put your money down and get that really custom order and have it in your possession in 4 months. But the bottom line is, are we there yet? Are we going to be there in 2022? Another thing to consider is, of course, with the chip shortage and the rationing, where you're going to have the opportunity for less customization. And why do I say that? Well, a lot of dealers will likely still provide you with that customization ability. They'll sit down with you and you can draw out your car of your dreams, put all the features and elements to it. But clearly, once you start to get custom, that usually means you're going further on the back burner. They're often going to use opportunities to find vehicles that are more cookie cutter, if you will, and have them first up on the row. And I know personally from example, I walked into an Italian sports car company here recently.
Wow. It's a Lamborghini.
Actually sat down, drew up a custom plan. I wanted some unique features, I wanted some unique colors, and then at the end of the day, they actually told me that that vehicle would take anywhere from about 3.5 to 4 years to actually get in my possession. By that time, they're on to the 3rd or 4th new generation. But that's what's going on. And there's yet another issue that you have to contend with, and I can't. I just don't get it. But as you can tell, most of these cars nowadays are full of electronics, and they're getting more and more complex. Of course, these generic ICE vehicles are pretty cookie cutter. But when you step it up to a vehicle like a Porsche Taycan like this, so it's pure EV, you're going to have way more electrics going on in a vehicle like that. We're talking about that chip shortage again. And where this becomes an issue is recently, as I mentioned, right here, we have a Toyota Camry, and I keep talking about this one because it's very important. You can walk in, buy a new Camry today, put your cash down, have the keys in your hand in about 3 or 4 months is what we're told. We just bought one as well for the family. However, we were told the only reason we were able to do that and get it in relative short order is because we got the regular gas jobby. We got the 4-cylinder, all-wheel drive setup, and that's why we were able to get it in 2022. However, we asked them, what if we wanted the hybrid version of this car? They told us we're going to have to expect to wait at least 1.5 to 2 years to get that vehicle. So what's the point of that? If you're waiting 2 years plus, why not just wait till 2023? And maybe you put your money down at that point. Maybe the factories will be ready to go. Maybe the chips will be backfilled. And maybe you'll be able to get your car in 3 months from then. So then what's the rush to buy the car right now? So then you decide, hey, 2022 is the year I want to buy my car. And you bring your shrewd cousin or your brother-in-law that, is a shrewd negotiator and he thinks he can chisel anyone down. He figures he can sell ice to an Inuit. He figures he can sell ketchup to a dude with white leather gloves. But the reality is, try to go into the dealership and negotiate a deal. Like I want to buy one of these XT6s, they're gorgeous. So I go on down to the Cadillac dealer and I decide, hey, I want to pick one of these up. I'm going to walk on in there, strutting like a peacock like that. I'm going to get me a deal. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But good luck with that, because dealers right now are not negotiating, and that's the worst part. Now, I've had some conversation and viewers report lately that they've tried to go into dealerships and there was zero negotiation. As a matter of fact, some are tacking on extra. There's actually some dealers that are saying, due to low inventory, we're throwing another $6,000 on top of the MSRP, which is the sticker price of that vehicle. It's absolutely gouge Fiesta-ville. But then there was actually, I had a viewer that reported that they actually had a Chevy Bolt that was being discounted. Now, that would be a rare exception. And the primary reason for that is because those vehicles are known to burn because of an overcharging issue and an internal cell contamination problems within those batteries. But regardless of what kind of brand or manufacturer you want to look at, you're not going to get a great deal. I know I walked into the Toyota dealer, tried to deal on that Camry, and they didn't even want to talk about a trade-in. They don't care. Unless you've got a vehicle that's 2 or 3 years old, they basically told me, hey, we'll give you $1,000 for your 10-year-old BMW. Oh, we're just going to send it to auction. But yet, then you see that same vehicle on a car lot like this 2 months later. It's just bizarre. So they're playing the game, but they're playing coy, and quite frankly, they don't want to take your trade. They want you to pay straight up. They want you to take in-house financing or leasing so they can even top up their profits. And the general consensus is you're not going to cut a deal off of MSRP right now. But those are all well and good, and those are great reasons why you wouldn't buy a car in 2022. But wait a minute, there's some strong forces that are telling you you should buy. Why? Because if you wait too long, there's some other things that are looming in the background. Months go by, and now what the manufacturers are going to want a bigger piece of the pie. So they've been holding on for a while on raising those sticker prices on their vehicles. They've seen what's going on with this intermediate vulture group that have been buying and selling cars, upping the pricing of these vehicles. The new car manufacturers are now going to start slowly raising MSRP or sticker prices on a lot of their vehicles. They're going to claim it's inflation. They're going to claim it's about time. They're going to claim cost of doing business. They'll claim a million things, but the bottom line is stickers going to go up. So if you keep waiting and waiting, you could expect that a lot of the vehicles are going to rise in value over the next 6 months to a year. Doesn't matter whether you're buying a Traverse or you're buying a Toyota, guaranteed you're going to see price increases across the board for brand new vehicles. So it's truly a gamble. It's almost like throwing a dice on a crap table and hope for the best. Maybe your waiting will pay off, but maybe it won't. Another reason for not waiting too long is historically bank rates have been very, very low in the last couple of years. Well, this continues on, and while the Canadian and US markets, the respective banks are slowly bumping rates up, while transitions have been slightly muted, banks never want to lose money. They want to maintain their overall profits, so now they have to make up for it by increasing their base finance rates. So what you're going to start seeing is instead of that car for 3.99% over a 5-year time frame, you might actually start seeing it at 7.99% in a short period of time. And it's that high lending rate that we're about to be faced with that's likely going to cost you huge money in the long run, particularly if you're not the type of person that can pay off your vehicle in a year or two. And there's another compelling reason why you might want to actually buy a new car this year. If you've got your eyes on something special, maybe you're an enthusiast, you want to drive something unique, interesting, internal combustion particularly. Well, guess what? That world is coming to a drastic close. And beautiful cars like this Porsche 911 are on borrowed time, as are these beautiful Camaros, or your Subaru WRXs and STIs, or your Genesis, BMW, and Lexus cars. So why is that? It's because the transformation to electrification, and all we're going to be seeing very, very soon are cars like this, the Panamera, where we're talking pure EV, or other cars like this, the Tesla, is another example of the vehicles that we're going to see predominantly out on the streets coming up very, very soon. So it's a very difficult question, but I know for me, I missed the boat on a couple of very special cars that I wish I had bought, and I can't buy them anymore. They've been discontinued, so that destroys it for me. But for you, you may have different reasons for buying a car. Whether you can pay cash might be your time to buy it down the road when you have time to sniff around and you're not particularly fussy on the type of vehicle. Maybe you're not looking for anything real special and you can walk on down to the dealer today. Maybe that low finance rate is the answer for you. Either way, there's many different complex conversations as to whether you should buy a car in 2022. And with all of that said, right there, click there. If you decided you're going to pull the trigger this year, you're definitely going to want to read that list because there's 10 great vehicles available on car lots today if you decide if you want to buy a new vehicle right now. Hope to see you guys all real soon. Catch you next time. Bye-bye. Excited or what? So stoked? You gotta bring something.